welcome to this new special episode of Continuum Gaming, accompanying the episode 160 of Continuum Gaming. And today we are going to have a little bit of fun. I don't know if this is really something you would like to use, but maybe, I don't know. And so today we are going to talk about something like that. And what we are going to talk about is a service which is called Remotr, which is more or less a streaming service for streaming stuff from your PC, for instance, to a smartphone or another device. And we are going to take that a little bit further, because we are going to take that and use it with Continuum enabled too. So we are not going to use it only on our smartphone, which is possible, but we are going to use it on our Continuum display. So we are streaming from our PC with our smartphone in the same Wi-Fi in this case, but you wouldn't have to. And we are going to play it on the big screen like this. It's a pretty interesting setup, and so I wanted to show you what's going on there and what is happening in the setup. So stay tuned and let's start. Yeah, and for that we first off have to install something on our desktop or laptop computer, for instance. And that one should of course be in the same Wi-Fi as, for instance, a smartphone itself is. But first off, let's have a look. So it's called Remotr. You can download it on remotrapp.com. At the moment there's a problem with that. If you click on this, for instance, you are going to go to this part here, which is cool and all, but the problem is if you click on this link now, it's going to have a problem at the moment. So what you can do to overcome this problem is just use one of the other download sites, for instance this one. I'm not sure if this is a good option to download something, so please be aware of that and be very careful where you are downloading stuff from, of course. But in the end, this is one of the options you have, and I did that now. I just downloaded this latest version here, clicked on it, got it to run and installed it, and after that you can open something like this. And this is now the Remote Streamer app, which is more or less a server for the whole thing. So as you can see, there's your name given here, and there is, for instance, this options window where you see all the different games you are using and a couple of other things. But first off, I want to show you a little bit about the settings here, which is interesting. So go to that, go to your options here and have a look at the different parts. I think the default one looks like this. I wanted to have the GPU video acceleration on, and I just enabled this just to make sure that there is not going to be a bigger problem with that. And now this is more or less all you have to do. The interesting part about this is now that you can easily connect with this, with, for instance, an app which is available on the Windows Store. So let's go to the store. If I go into that, I have a twin display, so I'm going to use it here. You can see the Windows Store, which is of course available on every Windows device. For instance, on the Windows 10 mobile devices, you can download something with that. And you can use it, of course, for instance, if you are using a Surface or something like that. So first off, just get there and put in Remotr, I think. Yeah, there it is. And now just download this to your device. It can be your Windows mobile device, which we are going to use, and it can be anything else. Just download it here. As you can see, there are a couple of different options here, and it's available for, in this case, only x64, but on your mobile device, it's available as an ARM version, for instance, too. Yeah, and after we have done that, we can now go over to the smartphone, for instance, and go on. You don't have to activate anything here. If, for instance, a game you would like to play is not available at the moment in this case, you can, for instance, try to add that with this button here, and this is more or less for manually installed games, for instance, if you're just copying over files or something. And if that is the case, you can just go in here and add the game manually. But we don't have to. And yeah, let's have a look at our Continuum Gaming device for that, or Continuum device for that. Yeah, and now we can go to our smartphone and, or better to say, our Continuum Gaming rig, whatever you want to call that. And of course, I'm using the Arc mouse, for instance, and the foldable keyboard, and of course the Xbox One wireless controller if I want to, as input devices. And what we need to do is we need to install the app Remotr. on our smartphone here. It's an UWP app, so we can really use it with Continuum gaming in this case. You can use it on your smartphone itself too. It depends on what you are going to want to use here. And Continuum is going to be functional with it and so on, and we are going, of course, to use that functionality for that. So I'm just clicking on that, and it's really pretty easy because the server, so our PC in this case, is in the same network. We just see it. There are a couple of different ones, discovered and locally discovered one. I'm going to use locally discovered. I don't know what the difference between those two is. But in the end, after a short while, the connection has been established, and now we can see which kind of games are installed on our desktop PC in this case, of course. And we can now start those desktop PC games from our smartphone here without going to the desktop PC or something. You don't have to go there and put it in. This is something you will have to get used to. It's going to crash a lot. I don't know why that is, but it's really just like that. So let's try it again. Especially if you leave it without any kind of input or something, it's going to be crashing a lot. It's a little bit better if you don't do that. So what I want to do here is, as you can see, I have a couple of different games on, and what I want to play with you is, for instance, StarCraft 2. You can play different games, everything that is installed on your computer. Some of the games are really not suited to be played on this display, because I'm a lot into VR and mixed reality, and like that, for instance, The Price of Freedom and other VR games are not going to be pleasant to play at this. So what we are going to do is we are going to open StarCraft. And StarCraft is, of course, a game that is done by Blizzard Entertainment, so there's a Blizzard client which is starting and stuff like that, and you can just use that as you would in any kind of other game. I'm going to switch around just to be able to manipulate that easily. And as you can see, there is this little kind of icon in there. The Remotr client is trying to emulate this to be used with a smartphone. So in general, you are going to have some kind of an touch-based interface here. And if I click on it now, as you can see, we can see this little part there, which is more or less our finger in this case, where I'm clicking. And as you can see, there's an offset to our mouse pointer. And first off, we have to get rid of that offset. So click on that icon up there, then there is this overlay, and we can go to this, for instance, and toggle to mouse mode. And if we do that, now you can see the offset is gone. There is, of course, a little bit of a lag in there, but still that is gone. So let's have a look at the other options there. And there's, for instance, a selection of games, of course. You can set up some kind of display overviews and stuff like that, so interfaces. I'm not going to do all of that now. You can play with that if you want to. And there are, of course, settings, so let's have a look at those. As you can see, there is, for instance, this enabled gamepad emulation. So if you want to use, for instance, the Xbox One wireless controller or something, you could. And now I just have to click all the time with my mouse and can now go to play, for instance. And if I do that, it's going to be started. I'm not sure if we are going to play a game really, or what we are going to do. Maybe I will go into that for a very short time. But just to let you see that everything is working here. We get on the stream, we can move the mouse pointer around, as you can see. There's Statman. And for instance, we can now go to co-op or whatever we want to. Switch to that, get one of our commanders here, go to, for instance, the gaming button. And if I click on that, it's going to search for a player. I'm not really sure if it's a good idea to play with someone on the LAN or with someone on the internet now, because we're already streaming over the LAN and stuff like that. But let's try it out. I'm not sure about it. He, of course, has a bad time with us now today, so sorry, Daniel, for using you a little bit in this case. Just because I'm not going to be good at this game in this kind of fashion we are going to play here, and of course I'm going to leave this session. But just to show you, I'm going to try it out a little. And as you can see, there's our game. We can now, for instance, select our user parts here. We can, for instance, do something like moving around, going to drill something, and so on and so forth. And of course, we can, for instance, use our part here. our keyboard and type in stuff. As you can see, all the controls are given over, and this is more or less what we want to do here. And for instance, as you can see, we can give our parts here, our units here, some kind of control. I don't know, produce, for instance, new units, especially if you are using, for instance, the keyboard for some stuff. It's really going to work pretty well. There are a couple of different things we can't do. For instance, I can't really, or at least I don't know how, I could, for instance, put a selection box around something. Maybe there is an option for that, but at the moment I'm not sure about that. So this is really something you shouldn't play StarCraft with them. But nevertheless, let's try to, select one. And for instance, I can now build something by hitting B, of course, going here, and now I can, for instance, put some of the refineries or something where I want it, or for instance, build another command center or whatever you want to do here. Let's do that first. And as you can see, our unit is going to try that and is going to build our part here. Yeah, and so you can really play even AAA titles like this with this kind of setup, device setup, whatever you want to call it. Pretty damn cool. Yeah, and there you have it. Some kind of a very interesting setup we got here running. As I mentioned before, it's very unstable, so don't try it to be your daily driver for gaming or something. That's not going to happen in this case. But still, a pretty interesting approach, especially if you think about something like the Microsoft Gaming Cloud Bean service or something that is going to come. And so this is more or less something very equal to that in a smaller kind of fashion, of course. But pretty interesting, pretty amazing that that is possible. So, thank you for watching, thank you for listening. I hope you had a fun time with this episode of Special Continuum, or special episode of Continuum Gaming, that way around, it's right. Thank you for watching, thank you for listening. Please leave a like if you like this video. Of course, if you have any kind of questions, please put them down in the commentary box. And of course, if you didn't subscribe till now, please have a look at that. It's a button down below too, where you can, for instance, activate the bell button so you can see when I am going to upload a couple of new episodes, for instance, which will be probably next week, some day around Saturday or Sunday, don't know. So, thank you for watching, thank you for listening, and till the next time, have a nice week. See you! Bye!